On your screens are visuals from this past Friday. What do you see? You see a number of activists that belong to a Hindu group opposing Namaz in the open. That was Friday. A controversy now has broken out over the actions of the Hindu group. The centre has waded into the Namaz debate. Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi has backed calls for imposing reasonable restrictions upon the conducting of Namaz. We'll play this out for you. Listen to this. The centre taking a stand via the Minority Affairs Minister.
जो नमाज है वो खुदा की इबादत है और अमन के लिए होती है, शांति के लिए होती है। इसलिए जो है वो नमाज को लेकर के किसी तरह का विवाद हो तो मुझे लगता है ठीक नहीं है। वैसे भी नमाज किसी अनऑथराइज प्लेस पर तो इजाज़त होती भी नहीं पढ़ने की, लेकिन उसके अलावा भी इसको लेकर के जो किसी भी तरह का विवाद खड़ा किया जाए वो ठीक नहीं है।
The statement was issued after certain Hindu groups, as I told you, stopped a congregation from holding prayers in an open space and not in a mosque. The opposition has slammed the centre's stand, labeling it intolerance towards minorities. But here are the hard facts, upfront, as always, that seem to deflate the opposition's charge and position. Viewers, Article 25 of the Constitution of India guarantees the freedom of profession, practice and propagation of religion. The same article in Clause 1 imposes, however, restrictions subject to public order, morality and health on these practices. Clause 2, if you look at Clause 2 of the Article 25, it also allows the state to regulate any economic, financial, political or other secular activity which may be associated with religious practice. In other words, restrictions, as long as they are reasonable, can be imposed. Despite these hard facts, which are stated in the Constitution, deflating the opposition's charge, the opposition political parties are targeting the centre for intolerance. They are targeting the BJP for intolerance. Listen to this.
देखिए, ये देश में विभिन्न धर्मों के लोग, विभिन्न जातियों के लोग, विभिन्न इलाकों के लोग, विभिन्न वेशभूषाओं के लोग रहते हैं। इसको कोई भी किसी को भी ऐसा कदम नहीं उठाना चाहिए तो समाज को तोड़ने का काम करे।
ये तो साड़ी अपनी दिल दी ख्वाहिश है। Nobody can order us, and I don't know what is wrong, gone wrong, what Khattar talking like this. To my mind, this is what their attempt is. To my mind, polarization.
देखिए, सरकारों का ये भी एक दायित्व होता है कि लोगों को अपने धर्म के आयोजन के लिए सुविधाएं जो हैं वो भी उपलब्ध कराइए। तो आप अपने उपलब्ध करा दीजिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। मेरा ये कहना है कि जो भी आप कानून लाइए वो सर्व धर्मों को समान रूप से अप्लाई होना चाहिए।
That's the opposition's position. Most of those individuals you heard were Congress politicians. What were they reacting to? They were reacting to the fact that the Haryana Chief Minister, Mr. M.L. Khattar, came out and said, in substance, that when reasonable restrictions are imposed, it is okay. This is what he said. In our point of view, namaz should be offered at their designated places. Namaz should be offered at mosque and Eidgah. If there is shortage of place for namaz, then it should be offered at a personal place, which perhaps means a residence or a hall. These are not such issues which should be displayed at public places. To maintain law and order, it is our duty and we will do it. We are ensuring that harmony is maintained and there is no tension, and we have alerted our officials. He says, till the time nobody raises objections to the holding of namaz, to the conducting of namaz in a public space, it is okay. But if there are objections from any department or any individual, then we have to be careful. Now I want our viewers to pay attention to what the Supreme Court has said. the Supreme Court says there are two limbs to religious freedom contained in Article 25. While one limb guarantees the right, the other limb incorporates restrictions on the exercise of the rights so that they may not conflict with public welfare or morality. This, I am quoting, was a judgment, Supreme Court judgment of 2004, judgment with regards to the Anand Margi sect. Now, obviously, there are some basic questions that arise. Does the Supreme Court's view deflate this huge hullabaloo that is being created around those pictures there, which is a number of individuals holding namaz in a public place which is upsetting the locals or upsetting members of another community? Now, we spoke to some very, very liberal voices, voices which are also scholarly. Listen to this voice of reason. This Muslim backs the Hindu view on namaz restrictions. And this prompts us to ask the question, is the namaz restriction repressive or is it reasonable? Listen to this. This is Taslima Nasreen speaking on this issue.
Actually, there are so many mosques in India, and Muslims can go to mosques or Idgah to pray. And if they pray blocking the roads, public places, then it is very difficult for common people. I think that they should pray at mosques. Not only Muslims, all worshippers should pray in their places of worship.
Very reasonable, very balanced by Taslima Nasreen, saying that, look, no one has a right to impinge on another person's public space. Let's throw this open. Shazia Ilmi of the BJP, Raghav Avasthi, RSS thinker, Rizwan Ahmed, lawyer, Rizwan Kaisar, Professor, History of Jamia Millia Islamia. Also with us, Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist, Sabah Naqvi, a senior journalist, and Varis Pathan, MLA and spokesperson of the AIMIM. Let me first ask Shazia Ilmi a straightforward question. Given that namaz regularly is held out in the open in certain quarters, is this an example of intolerant, majoritarian assertion?
No, I don't think so. And I think the same would have happened if there was some other community and it was coming in the way of either law and order or spaces, public spaces being taken up for a long period of time. So I don't think we should either communalize it or politicize it. A group of people have a problem with people offering prayers for a certain period of time on Friday, Jummeh ki namaz. And I think we should really look at an amicable settlement. What do those people want? Can there be any other way to remedy the problem instead of taking it to this level? I totally agree with what Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi ji has said, the Minority Affairs Minister, that we cannot make a row over this and we cannot make it about Hindu-Muslim rights, because it is not about majoritarianism versus minoritism. After all, there is Mata ka Jagran. After all, there are Artis. After all, there are Kamadiyas. So people who have an intolerance to noise levels, and a lot of people do, I am one of them. So I would have a problem with a lot of noise around me, anything coming in the way of my private space. So I think individuals' right to privacy and seeking that space has to be in consonance with the right of another individual to offer prayers or of any kind. So I think somewhere there has to be a balance. But if we politicize it and make it about majoritarianism, we will lose the debate and make it very shrill and make it about communities, Hindus versus Muslims.
Let me ask.
That is a stand I refuse to take, and let's be more responsible about it.
Let me ask MIM. Let me ask the MIM. if freedom of faith mattered so much, so the so-called secular lobby, which includes you, why didn't they back, i.e., why didn't you back the Anand Margis in 2004 when the Supreme Court ruled against their right to hold the Tandav in public? Tell me, sir, freedom of faith matters so much to you.
Well, Rahul,
When
well,
the
Rahul,
courts
let me tell
intervened,
you.
why didn't you back them?
Yeah.
Why did you not protest against the left government
Well, Rahul, let me tell you.
in 2004 that cracked down on them and denied them the right to carry out their ritual in public? I want to ask you, sir, today.
So,
Kahan the aap log? Where were you?
It's okay. Well, now if you are over, let me. Well, now let me tell you, freedom to practice a religion is guaranteed under the Article 25 of the Constitution. Every individual has got a right to practice religion of his choice and propagate. Here, nobody has any intention to cause inconvenience to anybody. The Muslims go for Friday prayers in the mosque. It is only when the mosque get full that they queue outside and held their prayers. See, we are living in a country where we practice all kind of different religions and faith.
No, that's okay. I'm asking you, sir.
For 9 to 10
I am not
days,
against. No, I am not against your point of view.
Nobody interferes.
I am not saying.
Make my point.
No, 1 minute.
Allow me to make my point, then you
but
can say
why
whatever
do you
want to, Rahul.
only champion the rights of one community and not the other? I am saying that the left government in 2004 and much earlier had decided to crack down on Anand Margis, a sect of the Hindus.
No. Did I?
But I didn't hear. I didn't hear.
I started.
I didn't hear Waris Pathan. I didn't hear Waris Pathan standing up there.
My point by making clear that Article 25 is applicable to every individual living in the country. I did not say it is Muslims or non-Muslims. So whether Anand Margi or Muslim, whosoever is there, it's covered by the freedom.
So aapne kyun nahi bola? Why didn't you say that this was a contemptuous act by the left, by other political parties to restrict Hindus? Where are you when the Durga Puja processions are denied by the Bengal government? I'm asking.
He cannot.
No, 1 minute.
See, it is for the government, it is for the state government to provide proper security.
No. I don't see you. I don't see you appending freedom of faith. Then I'm asking you, sir, what is going on?
To make my point.
No, you have to answer me tonight.
What is going on in the country? You all know
Hypocrisy.
what is going on. Here the BJP is practicing
your hypocrisy is being called
in the name
out
of religion.
Let me tell you.
Everybody knows what is going on in the country. It is a question.
No, let me tell you. In the same judgment, what is mentioned? There's a descending judgment. There was a dissenting judgment by Justice A.R. Lakshmanan.
To any person.
And A.R. Lakshmanan said the following.
Yes, I know.
He said, if you know, sir, then why aren't you? Why aren't you then standing up and saying what happened to the Hindus was wrong?
I have read the Supreme Court judgment before coming to your channel. It is in my head. You can see this. I don't want to interpret the judgment. I know the judgment very well. Allow me to make my point.
Silent?
The question here is whether inconvenience should be caused to the people. And
well, some people are finding it inconvenient.
For that. You see,
and the Article 25 says that if it's inconvenient, then reasonable restrictions can be imposed. So why politicize it? Are you politicizing this because you want to score a couple of points against the BJP in Karnataka? Is that the reason? I'm asking you, sir.
When he says that if you want to pray,
is a collective effort being made to project the BJP as a political party intolerant to every minority in this country? I'm asking you. Jawab dijiye.
Yeah, right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
Okay.
BJP
so this is opportunism.
Is playing the divisive politics.
I want to bring you in, sir. I want to bring you in. I want to bring in. No, I want to bring in Sabha. No, I want to bring in Sabha Naqvi. I also want to bring in Mr. Rizwan
You have seen, I have seen.
No, 1 second.
Allow me to make my point. I have not completed my point, Rahul.
What is your point? You're not answering my question. I've asked you a point-blank question. Why silent then? Why vociferous now?
I'm answering your question. You don't want to listen. You want to listen to the answers as per your convenience. So what can I do? I will answer the questions not as per your convenience, but the nation wants to know. Let the nation know what the BJP government is doing. And it's a question of Friday prayers. The Friday prayers, if it is there, it is for 10 minutes and nobody has got an intention or a love to stand in the hut, in the hot sun and pray. Nobody wants to do that, but it is only when the masjids get jam-packed, the people queue outside and they pray and they go away. The traffic police remains there. Similarly, during the Ganesh Chaturthi festival, similarly during the Mahartis which take place on the road, there is a police will protect. Not only that, there was a BJP rally in Mumbai just few days back, Rahul, and let me tell you, for 6 hours the inconvenience was caused to the people. People were stranded on the roads when Amit Shah came to Mumbai. Now, who's responsible for that? Does the government not see that we are causing inconvenience to the people? People were held in the ambulances, and that was reported by your newspaper as well. So who's causing inconvenience? At that time, nobody says, Khattar does not come and say that time that such kind of rallies are also causing inconvenience to the common people at large. Why no? Why no statement that time?
Well, Pathan, I've heard you. We've all heard you. You've not answered the question. I'm disappointed you haven't answered the question. Now I have a right to ask you to please keep quiet. You beat around the bush so much that there is no bush left. Okay.
No.
Can I
just make a few quick points? Convenient and that is
no, can I make a few quick points?
I find it rather strange.
Mr. Pathan, please allow me. Very quickly.
This selectiveness rather strange. Why? Sabha Naqvi, explain.
So, Rahul, now, first of all, Rahul, this whole thing began, it's not about what the Chief Minister stated. It is about a series of attacks on people who were offering namaz. I took the trouble to go to Gurugram right after I returned from Karnataka. I took the trouble to go there because people are terrified. Now, what is happening there very simply is that there are not enough mosques to accommodate the namazis. So the best way out, please don't interrupt me, but please allow me to finish over here. So the best way out of this is for them to petition the government to give them more space, to allocate the space where they
why the
will
government?
Pray.
Why the government? Why the government?
Way.
Is there a
government now becomes
in public an aspect of the fundamental right to freedom of religion?
Tomorrow then Hindus will say, look, our friends also need, we need funding, everyone will ask for funding. Why the government?
Do not interrupt me.
Offering namaz is all right.
This is ridiculous argument.
This is a very serious matter.
Government has to impose the rule of law. It can't be creating, all sorts of structures for people. Then it will be favoritism. And I think that's what some people have got used to. I want to bring you in, Mr. Kasan. Let me bring you in. I want to ask you. Anand Margis, a religious denomination, are denied their rights. Not one word comes out from this so-called secular lobby. I don't remember the Congress party taking a protest. I don't remember the left parties which actually were behind this ban.
It began with attacks on them.
Flagging themselves on their backs. Neither do I remember the TMC apologizing to the Hindu community for restricting their procession.
One Supreme Court judgment which is very important. I'll just have to read it.
Let me tell you quickly. Point number one.
No one is defending any violence, ma'am. We are very against the violence. Terrible. If violence has taken place, terrible. Lock up those goons. But if there are objections, let's impose reasonable restrictions. 1 minute.
Rahul, number one, the prayers which are happening in Gurugram are only happening on Fridays, number one. Mr. Awasthi is saying that people should pray it in their homes. No. Friday prayer can only be offered in congregation. 3, if people are organizing namaz, ideally they should have the permission from the government authorities. If a particular place, they can use it for offering namaz. Why? Listen, Rahul, you will allow me to complete. Why? Because Gurugram, particularly the major
it's not just about Gurugram. It happens in every state. It happens in a large number of towns. It so happens that someone took it upon themselves. Now, rightly or wrongly, that's a separate debate to call this out.
Rahul, general complaint is mosques are empty. Only on Friday that crowd spills out.
You see, sir.
Number 2.
You see, sir. Tomorrow, if there is a law and order problem, then you'll have another issue.
Law and order.
This is done. I'm sorry, sir. I want to ask you. One second. I want to ask you. Anand Margis also don't go dancing in the streets every day.
Right.
Do they? So when they wanted to do it once on a festival, they were not allowed to. Where was Rizwan Kaiser then?
No. Kind of reference that you are making to the Supreme Court judgment, it is about the morality.
Sir, if you have a problem, go move the courts. Go move the court.
Don't make a comparison between namaz and Tandap dance.
No, sir.
That would be
no.
Thoroughly
I'm sorry.
incorrect of you.
No, some people regard it as a part of a ritual.
But
no one is threatening anybody.
Not all
no,
Hindus.
I'm sorry, sir. No,
Only
I'm sorry.
Anand-Margis.
No, I'm sorry.
There are Anand-Margis today.
But that's what I'm trying
Why
to
are
say.
you claiming Anand-Margis
Freedom of
as
faith
Hindus?
is guaranteed.
They never consider
no, you
themselves
can't
as
have to.
Hindus.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Kaiser. You cannot have two sets of laws.
I'm having
two
only
sets
one
of
set
people.
of value, one set of
one
law.
denomination is denied, the other denomination is said, okay, koi baat nahi. Doesn't
Yes,
matter.
yes,
you
Rahul,
can flood
I
our
will
streets.
never make
It doesn't make a
comparison
difference. You
between
can block
Namaz
the
and Durga
traffic.
Puja.
No problem.
Because this is
but the
India.
government will come and make
This
you.
is India.
No,
Religious festivities.
Sir, I'm sorry.
They spill
I'm
out in the
sorry.
streets and everybody
The
should
law
accept
is
it.
clear. Reasonable.
Rahul, I'm sorry.
Reasonable restrictions can be imposed, Sabanakvi.
It's a very important judgment.
To Namaz, which is
I mean,
offered by
don't compare
Muslims
Namaz
across
with
the world.
Tandap.
I'm sorry.
I'm not comparing anything.
No,
I'm only
but
saying
making
that.
your- making
No,
a
I'm sorry,
comparison
sir.
of what is
Rituals are
happening in
rituals.
Gurugram.
Practices are practices. Mr. Awasthi wants to come in.
Yeah, so Sabhaji, please listen to me also. Sabhaji, please listen to me. You had your say. I am reading out from the Supreme Court judgment in this case of Sardar Sayyidna Tahir Mahmud Sahab, and it very clearly says as follows. Please listen to me very carefully.
Tell us.
In this connection, it has to be borne in mind that it's a constitution by bench judgment, 5 judges. Has to be borne in mind that limitations imposed on religious practice on the ground of public order, morality or health have already been saved by the opening words of Article 25 Clause 1, and the saving would cover beliefs and practices even though considered essential or vital by those professing the religion. So, if there is a religious practice which goes against public order, which has the potential to disturb public order, the same is not protected by Article 25 Clause 1, even though it might be considered to be essential to the practice of Islam. And this is a 5-judge constitution bench judgment.
Why is no one talking about the attacks on them? Then get to public order. The greatest threat to public order is attacking people.
Ma'am, people have been arrested.
Why are you just talking about traffic problems?
Arrested, taken place. The government has cracked down on those hooligans who are. One minute. I just want to come in here. No. There is a very convenient way of muddling up this issue.
Are goons going to be allowed to attack people?
Those goons have been arrested. You know, Sabanakvi, they have been arrested. Those goons have been arrested. Those goons have been arrested, Sabanakvi. You know it very well. And I'm terribly sorry to let you know that there is a pernicious attempt at polarization here. And it is being done because there is a Karnataka elections and parties like the MIM today are in opposition to the BJP. Let me begin the BJP.
You should be held responsible if there is a communal riot tomorrow.
Let the BJP respond.
We are opposing the goons who have gone there and taken law into their own hands.
MIM.
In Haryana, what is happening? The goons are going there and taking law into their own hands. And what is the government doing? Just giving statements.
Sabanakvi, listen to Shazia Ilmi.
Rahul, I object to your using the namaz with the tanda. Please. Take back your words.
No, so
Tandem is different, namaz is different.
So I think
if there is anybody, they are totally different things.
If there is anybody, nobody has a right to resort to violence. Prayer is about peace, and that's the most sacred ritual on a Friday that a Muslim performs, and he has every right to. But nowhere in any of the Islamic nations, and I'm sure all of us have been to so many, do we ever see, even in the Islamic nations when the majority is Muslims, the Muslims playing right on public spaces, on the roads, on the highways, and I see that as even as a Muslim, since I was a young girl growing up, public parks are there. No way. I've never seen it.
In India, even Hindus are praying in public spaces.
Exactly, which is also. That's what I'm saying. It's not about Hindus. We are too tolerant.
I don't agree with the statement, please.
Tolerant. So Hindus, Muslims alike. No.
No, I have been to many countries where I have personally offered namaz on the road because the mosques were packed. I have offered namaz on the road.
On the road
during Congress
Don't make false statements.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me come in here.
And most
Mr. Pathan,
you are making a
wait your turn. No one interrupted you.
Importantly,
the only guilty party interrupting you was me.
Yes.
No other person interrupted you. Now you need to please keep silent and let Shazia Ilmi make a point, and she can, once she's finished, patiently listen to your rebuttal.
Yeah.
Yes, Shazia and me. Make your point quickly.
Now, there are two ways to deal with it. We do not want any community to live in fear. Nobody wants that. I'm sure that's not the idea. But where do we go from here? Do we make it about Hindus and Muslims? Do we make it about majoritarianism versus minoritism? Do we make it about BJP versus all the so-called secular parties?
BJP versus
or
race,
do we seek,
because this has been done with Karnataka elections in mind.
You have to do that. So this is what is being done. You're making...
Show me the proof.
You just now said,
show me the proof.
You
No, the people who are making it about religion. No, I'm sorry. There are certain people who are making it about religion. These people who are making it about public inconvenience, not about religion. No, there are certain lobby that were making it about public inconvenience. The methods they employed were terrible. They should not have resorted to violence. We don't endorse the violence. But there is a principle. No, Mr. Ashutosh Mishra, 1 minute. There is a principle. I am only restricting this debate to the principle. The use of violence is reprehensible. Those people have been arrested by the state. The state has done its duty by the citizens. Now,
and you said that
now
it has been criminalized because of Karnataka election.
Today the principle has become the debate.
But you are pointing to
there is no debate on the violence. Violence is bad.
Right.
It will never be encouraged and it will never be endorsed. I am talking about the principle. Now, if there is freedom of faith and it must apply to the Muslims, so it must apply to the Hindus.
It should apply to everyone.
So then why wasn't it applied in the case of the Anand Margis? I'm asking you, and why weren't individuals like you making a big song and dance about the curtailment of religious freedom? You see, because it doesn't suit your narrative. I want to bring it. I want to bring it. Rizwan Ahmed joined this debate. Don't talk over me. I want to go across to Rizwan Ahmed. Rizwan Ahmed.
What has Anand Margi got to do with Waris Pathan?
1 minute.
He was probably, what has Anand Margi got to do with Waris Pathan?
No, the Anand Margi, I am not talking about. We are talking about. No, it's absolutely not. I'm sorry, it might be irrelevant for you because their practices might be irrelevant for you. No, I'm sorry. I can also say today that your argument is irrelevant. So, is that a tolerant way of conducting a debate? Please, sir, don't try to be mischievous here. Please.
What about the
Hindu customs are irrelevant to you?
No, I want to know.
No, I'm asking you. Hindu customs. They are a sect of Hindus, sir. Let's not. They are a sect of Hindus. It's a religious denomination, and they are straight up and subscribe to it. No, please. Don't do this today.
Don't do this.
I know, sir. You are the same people who will say that Lingayats are also not a sect of the Hindus. They are a religion of their own. I know where you are coming from. I know where you are coming from, sir. And it is very wrong for you to be dividing people on the basis of their identity. It's a sick politics. Now, 1 minute. Rizwan Ahmed joins me. He's a lawyer. Rizwan Ahmed, today we have a discussion on a principle. There are certain people who find it problematic that there are individuals who conduct prayers outside of their mosques on public land, and they want this discontinued. The Supreme Court and the Constitution makes it very clear that reasonable restrictions can be imposed. Where do you come in on this? What's your point?
Yeah. See, thank you so much. See, let us for a change not talk about Supreme Court and ordinances and High Court. Let us talk about humility and prudence. I will give you a factual example. This is not a hypothetical example. Last Holi clashed with Friday prayers. So a very senior clergy of Lucknow, Maulana Frangi Mahal, came up with a public announcement that Friday prayers shall be postponed by 2 hours. The media appreciated it, Chief Minister appreciated it, and Frangi Mahal did not indulge into competitive argument. Friday prayer is a repetitive affair. It cannot be compared with anything happening once in a blue moon or once in a year. I have made a suggestion to my community, which has sanction from Islam, that if the mosque is small and you spill over on the road, have Friday prayers twice. The first at 1 o'clock and the other at 2 o'clock. Try to show that you are a reasonable, mature minority. Try to lead by example. Be sure that the majority community will reciprocate in its own way. If we keep on taking confrontation in everything, where will this country go and where will my minority go?
Yeah.
Why don't you respond?
Yeah, very quickly.
Sabah Naqvi.
Number one, his
Sabah
suggestion,
Naqvi.
Rizwan Ahmed's suggestion,
Rizwan Kaiser and Sabah Naqvi
held twice in a mosque. Problem in Gurugram is that there are not many mosques.
Rizwan Kaiser going first.
Yes. Problem in Gurugram is that there is only one mosque. There are not many local people. Allow me to speak. There are people who are working as executives, other kinds of workers. They don't find enough place. They have to travel some 15 kilometers in order to offer Friday prayer. That is what they have chosen the convenient way.
Sir,
but then this is a critical statement.
Rahul, in an area and it's not big enough, hold it in two
I am
time
making
slots.
it a serious statement.
He's also making a serious statement.
I said
everything is irrelevant to you.
Government should
Someone
have
is giving a constructive suggestion, you want to throw it out of the window.
Instead of these goons, government should have deputed magistrates.
Please,
in order to
this is ridiculous. The man is saying,
you can't say ridiculous.
No, so you can say irrelevant.
But then don't use these words, Rahul. Let me tell you,
it's an absolute fact, statement of fact.
No, I think
listen to what the gentleman is saying. You are not being reasonable. You are not being reasonable.
We need to underscore the constitutional position. The constitutional position is very simple, that if there is a danger to public order, then the state has every right. It has every right to impose restrictions.
But government
upon
will
a practice,
do, not these goons.
Which is upon a practice which is essential to the practice of one's religion. This is not about nobody here is justifying violence. Nobody here is justifying violence. The fact of the matter is that by raising the issue of violence, people are trying to arrogate to themselves the right to monopolize public spaces for one particular religion.
Let me bring it.
It cannot be allowed in a secular country.
So let me bring in Sabah Naqvi. Sabah Naqvi, you heard Mr. Rizwan Ahmed, very balanced point of view. He quoted the example of Mr. Firangi Mahili, saying that when Holi clashed with Friday prayers, the prayers were postponed.
I've heard it all. I've also heard, I've heard it all. I've also had occasion to hear some of the people in Gurugram, the Muslims who are conducting these
Sabaji, you will create riots like this.
Out of this, they want to compromise. Now the problem is, if you will keep quiet, sir, the other gentleman, keep quiet. I have something to say here. I'm not here interested in a confrontation. So now the problem there's a lot of labor here. Gurugram is a booming area. There are people who come there and work there, and they're looking for a place to pray. Friday prayers is a congregational event for those who wish to pray. And there is a shortage of mosques. The last mosque that was being built there is a stay order. So now they are going with appeals to the state government to give them more land and spaces to pray, to allocate.
Sabhaji, you are blaming the judiciary also.
So before you jump in and say things,
you're blaming the judiciary for having the stay order in place.
You know, don't talk rubbish to me, whoever you are. My
name is Raghav Avasthi.
One thing.
I'm a lawyer. I went to a national law school.
Start with that. The people were attacked and they're very scared right now. And listen, Raghav, you just got onto TV. You just want to talk. I'm saying something different. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about. I'm reading from the Constitution and Supreme Court judgments. Unlike you who wants to foment a riot. I read out a judgment. I iterated the constitutional position. You just want to create riots. You want rioting in Gurugram. So that you can tell the world that India is unsafe under Modi.
Is that
the motive?
This is the motive. This is exactly what the motive is.
Whose motive is it?
These people want to create this narrative so that they can write down with false experiment and say minorities in India are unsafe.
Well, let me tell
This
you.
is the only motive.
Ashutosh Mishra, this is playing out. This is actually playing out in AMU. Okay, a bunch of students decide that they will not pull down Jinnah statue.
AMU has a certain history.
And when people object, they say we are being attacked, there are riots going on, etc., and this is happening under Yogi. And then they single out a particular denomination. And 1 minute, I want to go back to Mr. Rizwan Ahmed. He has made a very important intervention in this debate. Now, Rizwan Ahmed Sahab, you heard Sabah Naqvi and you heard Rizwan Kaiser. Do you agree with them?
I just need to tell them that nafrat ke 10 bahane aur mohabbat ka koi bhi nahi. If you say you are a Muslim, you are mukammal hayat, you are mukammal zabta hayat. We Muslims feel proud that we have the entire way of life, entire way of behaving in society. Can't you lead by example? Can't you give a narrative where the other community will look up to you? Why you have to get into a competitive argument? For God's sake. You are an educated woman. Talk like an educated person.
Two, three things
Talk
are very
like
simple.
a reasonable person.
Okay, let Sabha Naqvi respond first. Let Sabha Naqvi respond.
Wants to come in, she is no issue, but then...
I'll come back.
Do not give me lectures, don't patronize me. Do not patronize me, sir, whoever you are. Do not tell me I am a woman and talk in a certain way. I take strong objection to that.
Two, three things very quick.
Whoever you are, first know the name of the panelist. To everybody you are saying whoever you are, whoever you are. Who are you? Who are you? To everybody you are saying who you are, whoever you are. What is this way of addressing a person? When you come in a debate, ask for the panelists and talk to me by name. I am Dr. Rizwan. Talk to me by name. Talk to me by name.
This is misogyny. Do not talk to me like that, sir. You have no right. You are not the sole spokesperson for anyone.
You should talk like a reasonable person.
You have no right to speak to me like that. You should find out who I am. You should find out. You should read my book called In Good Faith.
And you are bringing misogyny
into it. You have no right to talk to me like that. You call me a woman. What on earth do you mean, you woman? You are a shameful man. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you to disrespect a woman.
People are in fear.
They were attacked.
People are in fear.
I'm coming in here.
Once did you
We need some order. We need some peace. We need some order.
What am I talking about?
This is the bottom line of this debate. For those who are just tuning in, we are debating a very important issue. It's an issue on which... No. This is an issue of principle. 1 minute. 1 minute. Shahjahan, give me 30 seconds, please. Let's lower everyone's feathers. Give me 30 seconds. I need to tell our viewers what we are getting into. This debate is centered on an objection that has been raised against the Muslim community in a pocket of Gurugram where the Friday prayers were being held in open public land. That is because the mosque was too small to accommodate the Muslims. So there was a spillover onto public land. Now a group of individuals used force to evacuate these Muslims who were offering namaz, which is not acceptable. But after that, a debate has begun because fearful of consequences, a backlash as violence, etc., for their own good, the Haryana Chief Minister has come out and said that, look, reasonable restrictions need to be imposed, and wherever there is a spillover onto the streets, that should be discouraged. People who want to conduct namaz must do it in their private spaces. Immediately, the Congress, other so-called self-styled opposition, secular parties have jumped in and said that this is majoritarianism of the BJP kind, of the saffron kind. The Supreme Court is very clear on this issue. The Supreme Court cites Article 25 and Article 26, saying that reasonable restrictions can be imposed and they are not in any way violative of the rights that derive from the Constitution. The Constitution itself is very clear on this issue and says that reasonable restrictions can be applied to freedom of professing, propagating, and practicing your faith. Now I want to ask certain panelists, why is it that Hindus, when they are denied the same right, then no one speaks, the secular lobby is quiet? When someone on this panel is saying that Muslims must not be confrontationalist, they can easily divide the time into two categories so that the mosque can accommodate the believers. There is a backlash. Why is it when people are offering solutions to settle the debate, they are being criticized and abused for towing a Hindu sympathetic line?
Mr. Rahul Shivshankar,
why are we bringing in religion?
Is talking about Firangi Mahal in Lucknow.
No,
is
so
he
what?
gone to Gurgaon?
So what?
I
so
have
what?
gone to Gurgaon.
So what? So what?
People
Logic is universal. No, Sabha Naqvi, logic is universal. If it can work in one particular situation, it can work in another. I want to ask you, you've been bouncing around in this debate so much. I want to ask you, what is your position? Should the Anand Margi's fundamental rights within the meaning of Article 25 and 26, should have that been upheld?
First
No,
let
you
me answer.
answer me my question
First you let me. First let me. पहले आप मुझे आपको ये बताने दीजिए. This is not the first time that namaz has been stopped.
You answer the question.
This is not the first time namaz
important to you as Muslim rights? Yes, no.
Yes.
Yes. So then come out and
this
say
is not the first time namaz has been stopped in Gurugram.
To restrict the practice
this is not the first time namaz has been stopped in Gurugram.
You first take a position.
It was stopped by the Congress government and Rajiv Chowk. Why wasn't there a backlash then?
If you can't take a position, don't argue here, don't debate here, don't become part of the problem. Become part of the solution.
They were trusted. And here there is a doubt which you have raised. You have
one government, one government is doubtful and the Congress
is being done because of Karnataka
How
election.
dare you, sir? How dare you today say that the Congress government is more trustworthy after what Salman Khurshid has said?
What has Salman Khurshid said?
He said that the Congress has Muslim blood on its hands.
No, he didn't say that.
It let down Muslims
we have
also.
Had that debate, Mr. Rahul.
No, I'm sorry. A lot of Muslims will find it very offensive. No, let me bring in Shazia Ilmi. She's also a Muslim. Let me bring in on this particular issue Rizwan Ahmed. Let me ask him, Rizwan Ahmed.
Yes, so
do you believe that the Congress upheld the rights of Muslims and protected them?
I'm asking you. They stopped namaz.
I'm asking you.
They stopped namaz.
No, Ashutosh, you're an apologist. You're an apologist. You're an apologist for those who you politically support.
I'm bringing hard facts to your notice.
These are not hard facts at all. Hundreds and hundreds of riots have taken place where Muslims were targeted. Action was not taken on
the suffering
the perpetrators under Congress regimes.
If you see the socio-economic indices of Muslims, you will realize how. If you see the socio-economic indices of Muslims in Congress-ruled states, you will realize how they were deprived, whether it was representation of Muslims in government jobs or private jobs, whether they had access to credit or sanitation, whether there were employment opportunities, or whether there was good old play, education.
Both have done appeasement politics.
Education. This was Congress. This is Congress.
There you heard it.
And the state
Am I saying even Congress has done appeasement politics? MIM is also the BJP. BJP is B team. आपको तो सिर्फ BJP दिखता है सारी जगह. Tomorrow the BJP gives you a ticket, sir. You will be quiet. I'm telling you.
No, don't.
I'm telling you. Opportunist. Opportunist sitting in our studio. Now the MIM is also the B team. MIM is also B team. Everyone is a B team.
That can do with you, not with me.
Only Congress is A team. Only Congress is A team.
I'm not a Congress spokesperson. Just that you don't want to listen to
sound like it. 1 minute. I want to bring in Dr. Rizwan Ahmed on the question. Dr. Rizwan Ahmed, do you believe today that the
Rahul,
Congress,
I would like to reply to
that the Congress upheld
Rahul,
the freedoms
certain points
and the security of Muslims? Simple question to you.
Okay, simple question, simple answer. As my study as socio-religious student, pseudo-secular parties and pseudo-secular civil society, they have always shot on the right wing using the shoulder of Muslim. And when the return fire came from the right wing, it was the Muslim chest which felt the heat of the bullet and not the leaders of the pseudo-secular parties. Simple and flat reply.
Reply, sir. If you think that you're a pseudo-secular, I didn't mean to call you that, but I'm just seeking a response.
No, I have got plenty of words to characterize other people.
Yes.
Including some doctor there and some professor there. That's not the question. The question is that we are debating in Haryana, Muslims offering namaz in public places.
So we are debating the principle.
No, this is what. Rahul, you allow me 1 minute uninterrupted. The government should not have mortgaged its role to private players like these goons is stopping. Magistrate should have gone there to intervene that you are not allowed to offer namaz in this particular store because the government wants to regulate such affairs. That would have been a much better thing. You allow these all kinds of religious group goons, they go beat up, stop, they dance around.
Can I ask you a question now?
What the kind of message
a follow-up question on what you've just said. Can you explain to our viewers in a minute, and then I will bring in Shazia Ilmi to respond.
Rahul,
how did the government mortgage?
I'll tell you.
Tell me.
I'll tell you. One minister, I just heard one Haryana minister saying that many of these Muslims have design on these lands. I mean, what do you mean? Nobody can have a design on
Narendra Modi, the then Chief Minister of Gujarat, knocked down temples Because they were encroaching on public land. If he can do it, if he can do it to fellow Hindus, where were you then? Where were you then? He said they were encroachers. Someone today said they are encroachers. You will have a problem. You will see that there are Hindus talking about Muslims. Shame on you. Shame on you, sir. Shame on you. Shame on you. I'm sorry. This is an absolute attempt at dividing Indians and making them suspicious of the government. This is the road to anarchy. This is the road to anarchy. If Narendra Modi can today tell Hindus that their temples are encroaching on public land, and another official of another state government says the same to Muslims, he's communal. And the other one is secular. Shocking. Shocking.
If a mosque is built on
shocking,
land,
shocking.
Well,
that's exactly.
This
the prayers are encroaching on public land. Tomorrow a car comes zipping through. It's a problem. It's a safety issue. People crowding on streets is a safety issue. Let's look at it as that. Why are we always looking at everything from a secular perspective, communal perspective? Because you benefit from it. I'm sorry.
Why
I'm sorry. Mr. Rizwan Ahmed wants to respond to you. Dr.
We are living in a country where we practice all form of religions. Everybody has the right to practice religion of their own choice. We don't take objection for any person.
I will make a I want to put forward my say. I don't want to respond. Listen. As a Muslim, I tell you and your viewers, and as a non-Muslim, I tell you that namaz does not have a fixed time. Every masjid declares his own time. The Friday prayers are called Zohar ki namaz. Zohar ki namaz ka there is a time period. There is no fixed time.
What time the Zohar namaz starts? Tell me what time the Zohar namaz time starts. Do you know that, Mr. Rizwan?
Yes.
Zohar namaz time starts from 12:50 and ends at 3:30.
Will you listen to me? Will you listen to me, you chatterbox? Will you listen to me?
No, I am listening to your crap since a long time sitting here because I am not being given an opportunity to make my point.
Will you listen to me, you chatterbox?
That does not mean that whatever you are saying that you are sitting and taking it as the gospel truth.
Listen to him.
Will you listen to me?
I will not listen to you. You listen to me first.
Will you listen to me? Are you suffering from diarrhea?
12:50 to 3:30 is the timing. There are 3-4 namaz
the time period of Zohar ki namaz is.
Nobody has an intention to pray in the hot sun.
Mr. Varis Pathan, I have to lower your fader. Yes.
I know you are a literate but an uneducated man. But listen to me.
Go ahead.
The time period of Zohar ki namaz is till the length of your shadow, is shorter than your height. Zohar ki namaz can be offered from 11:40 to 2:40. Why can't Muslims offer Friday namaz twice in a day in the same mosque? Can you give me any logic behind not doing what I am suggesting?
Do you have an answer?
I have an answer.
Should people not compromise?
No, provided you allow me to speak.
Okay, I have something
provided you give me uninterrupted time, Rahul. I have an answer to Dr. Rizwan's position.
No, you have a problem to his position, but you don't have an answer to his point.
He is talking about
sir, we all have a problem with each other's positions. I'm sorry, sir. Here a man is trying to find a solution and you are accusing him.
I'm joining you. I'm joining you to find the solution.
Why don't you all work towards a solution for once in your life?
The only solution is Muslims should pull in money to buy a piece of land to build a mosque. That's it. It cannot be in public places. It cannot be on government land.
You have taken a reasonable position after 40 minutes of badgering.
Only government should intervene.
There has been some agreement. I hope in the interest of good interfaith relationships, we can bridge this gap on another issue. Bridge this gap. Bridge it immediately. Keep the politics out. There are vicious elements trying to politicize this so that it has a bearing on Muslim voters in Karnataka. Don't allow that. Viewers, don't allow that.